Purdue. I'm just there for the summer because I'm studying journalism
Great.
at Ithaca College. And this semester is my last semester. So I was just doing a little internship there. Today's my last day, actually.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. So whatever information you gather today,
I'm going to write a story.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. It should be in tomorrow's paper.
Okay. Really?
Yeah, probably tomorrow's. If not tomorrow's, it'll be like Tuesdays.
That's awesome. Okay. So what about the press release got you interested?
It was kind of vague, so it piqued my interest, I think.
Really? Okay.
And so I was just like, well, let's see what it's all about, and like just learn more about you as like an author and a writer and things like that.
Great.
Especially because you're local, it's like really good to have those type of stories in the paper.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, where are you from?
I'm from Sayre.
Sayre. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah, I saw that in the press release, and I was wondering if did you grow up there?
Yeah. I
Okay,
graduated from Sayre in 1986, and then I went to Mansfield and graduated December of 90.
What did you study there?
I started out in accounting. How much time have you got?
And I have plenty. You're good.
Long story short, I ended up in broadcasting,
Okay.
and it was really fun. I did my internship with As the World Turns at CBS in New York.
Oh, wow. That's impressive.
Yeah, because it was my favorite soap opera, so I
Yeah.
got to sit in rooms with my favorite stars, and
Yeah.
it was really fun. So from that, I became a page at CBS. I don't even know if they have the program anymore, but we were we wore a uniform, and one of the main things that we did was we ushered in the audiences into the studios for the talk shows like Joan Rivers and Geraldo, and we would also escort celebrities into studios for interviews that they would do after the show,
Right.
and then they'd edit them and then broadcast them on another show. So the funniest story I have from all that is meeting Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, really? How was that?
It was hilarious because by the time he came along for that interview, I had been doing it for a while, so I wasn't really starstruck anymore.
Yeah.
Right? So I was calm. I was standing in the lobby. Okay, Arnold Schwarzenegger's going to come in and everything's fine. Well, the producer of the segment came down and she was pacing back and forth, and she was really nervous because Arnold was late. He was stuck in traffic. And she's getting all nervous. So that started getting me nervous.
Yeah.
So I met him, smiled, hello, how are you? Let's go to the elevator. So we get in the elevator. It's just him and me. And I look up at him, and I just want to carry on conversation so it's not an awkward silence in the
Yeah.
elevator. And I look up at him, and I go, my mouth didn't want to work. So I was embarrassed, and he just said, oh, yeah, well, how long have you been working here? He was trying to make it, funny. So
That's funny. I think I would probably do the same thing if I met any celebrities, but I haven't.
yeah.
So have you, from there, when did you decide you wanted to be a writer?
Oh,
Or is it just kind of like a hobby?
no, I've always wanted to be a writer. I have been one of those people that has an idea but just doesn't do anything about it. So I've done that with a lot of things. So I would start writing these romance novels and all these, all these different kinds of things, but I would just never finish them.
Yeah.
So there's another book that I have that's about a story that really happened in my life. And the only reason I haven't really finished that one now is I don't have an ending to it.
Oh,
So once I get the ending, I think I'll be publishing that book as well. Yeah.
Cool. Is this book your first book? Oh, really?
It is, yeah.
So what was the process like of writing that?
Well, I think this book is pretty unique. I haven't done any research to see if anyone else has done this, but it started with I was having all these really vivid dreams, and because I forget easily and I wanted to remember every single detail of the dream, as soon as I would wake up, I would start recording them on my phone. So it started from there. And let me show you. Here's the book.
Yeah, sure. Wow, it's very like big.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. I was studying dream interpretation according to the Bible. You know, there are books about dream interpretation that have nothing to do at all with the Bible, and those dream interpretations can be pretty different. So what this book is actually is my relationship with God.
Yeah.
Because I've invited him in, we actually have a relationship and he talks to me. So what goes on in that book is he's talking to me and I'm responding, and then there's demons that try to interrupt the conversation to get me off track. Which is, it's a pretty deep subject and not often talked about, especially in a publication.
Yeah.
But
so this all is like, this is kind of like, you recorded all your dreams and things like that. And so this is kind of a collection of them.
Well, this is a transcription of all the recordings. Well, not all of them. I mean, this is a sample of the recordings that I've done. I've got them on 2 phones. Let me show you. Like, these are all transcriptions of conversations I'm having. And I lived in Georgia for about 26 years.
Okay.
And I came home last year to visit my family. And I had planned to be here for a week or 2, and I was going to go right back to Georgia. And when I was driving back home, I was looking at the mountains, and I was saying, wow, this is really beautiful here.
Yeah.
And then I started running into friends I went to school with and things like that. So I just ended up deciding to stay. And at Christmas time, there was in Elmira, there was a Christmas house tour.
Okay.
Where, you know, all the beautiful old mansions, people are decorating every single room for Christmas and then allowing people to come in and tour the rooms. Well, there was this one house, they call it the Seth House, and I had never heard of it. So I started doing a little digging, and it's a woman, her name was Jane Roberts. She's passed away now, but she was having conversations with a spirit who called itself Seth. And I don't know how many books she published, but she started having classes in her home. And there's even videos of it on YouTube. They would film record her sessions, and from the description I read, she would go into a trance, and this entity called Seth would speak to her, and people would sit and listen and take notes, and it was a big phenomenon. I don't know. They called the people that followed this, they call them Sethies, people that were into that.
Yeah.
So I just found it interesting that was going on. And then the experiences that I'm having.
So when did you start, I guess, having them? Was it after you moved back here?
Oh no, this has been going on for years.
For years. Okay, I figured.
Yeah.
When did you move back here? What year?
I moved back here last summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, so the whole thing about how did the spiritual conversation start happening is I grew up Catholic, so I learned about God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit then, but I was just going to church. I didn't really do any digging myself. And then when I went to Georgia, I was invited to a really different church.
Yeah.
Really different from what I was used to. And before I was invited to the church, I had left the Catholic Church years before. And I kept seeing articles and things about the arguments between the different denominations and arguments between people who believe in Jesus and people who don't believe in Jesus and people who believe the Bible and don't believe the Bible. And I just became really curious because I never read the whole Bible myself. I thought, why do so many people argue over this book? What is it about this book that people are so up in arms about it? So I finally read it through cover to cover. Didn't understand a whole lot, but that just started, when I started learning things, I started to believe. Well, I believed in God. I decided, I think I was in 7th grade, and I said, a priest was teaching us religion class, and he was teaching us about things in the Bible, and what he was saying just stuck with me one day, and I thought, wow, I need to believe this. I was a child, but I decided then that I needed to believe this. So it's just been a journey from there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. That's a really interesting journey.
Yeah.
So when you joined that other church, did it kind of like change things for you?
That church, I had never heard the gospel preached the way that person preached it. And I didn't know that all the scriptures are connected. Like it's all one big thing that's all pointing in one direction. And so that started me being even more interested in the Bible. And I would end up reading it for hours and hours, and I would just start digging and digging, and then any information I could find about the Bible, like any articles online, I would just study and study and study, because it's fascinating what's in that book.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about some of these conversations. Just like a little bit more detail, so I can fully.
Oh, sure. Well, he talks to me a lot about me, and I'll pray and I'll worship, and I'll expect God to talk to me about other issues. He talks to me about world issues. He talks to me about specific occurrences that are happening in the world. Like, for instance, he started talking. He'd say Honolulu, Honolulu, Honolulu. So I'd start praying. I wouldn't just pray for Honolulu. I would pray for all of Hawaii. And now all those fires are going on in Hawaii. I didn't know that was going to happen.
Yeah.
One time, what I really love is when he gives me a word or a concept I've never known about, and then I have to go research it. So one time, the Lord and I were talking, and he said vanilla path. I didn't know there was anything called a vanilla path, and I went and looked it up online, and it has something to do with computer. I think it's computer coding.
Okay.
I had no idea.
Interesting.
So there's so many reasons for this book. There's so many reasons, because there are so many people that just don't, how can I say it? Like, God is a second thought to them. They haven't introduced themselves to Him. And there's so much that He is waiting to share with people if they would just take the time. But there's so much distraction, like movies and sports and hobbies, and so what I did was I moved all those things that I consider distractions. I moved all those things to the side and just spent all my time on Him. And this is what happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long, so you've been working on it for years, you said. How long approximately do you think it took? I imagine it took a long time to transcribe it all.
Well, I would pick it up and put it down. I think the first, if I'm not mistaken, I think the first transcription I did was in October of 22.
Okay.
I think the publication date is I think it's June 18th of 23. But if I had worked feverishly, who knows? I might have been able to do it in a month or two. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because they can be the longest recorded conversation I have is 2 hours long. Some are just a minute.
And so you would wake up, right, and you would record what you remembered.
No,
Is
I
that
would
what you're
record as the it's real time. I would record
okay.
the conversation.
Sorry,
real
I'm
time.
just trying to get it.
Oh no, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. What are some things you've learned throughout like the process?
Oh wow. I've learned that all of us have believed a whole lot of lies. And lies can look so real. Lies can look like they're true. And so you believe the lie, you think about the lie, then you start talking about the lie, then you start taking actions based on that lie that you believe to be true, and then your life takes a whole different direction that it was never supposed to take. And then I put that on a global scale. Like we're all believing lies.
Yeah.
So my thought process goes, okay, well, what kind of changes could the world go into if we stopped believing the lies and started believing the truth? Mm-hmm. So what stops us from believing the truth? Like why does the truth hurt? The truth only hurts because we believed a lie first. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So like take for instance when I was working for CBS, I did a reading. I wanted to be an actress. With my whole heart, I wanted to be an actress.
Right.
But I had low self-esteem. I was believing lies about myself. I was believing I wasn't good enough and all that. Mm-hmm. So I worked for the casting department. They're the ones that seem to have an eye for acting talent, right? So I did this reading for this part and with the assistant casting director. Another actor had come in to interview to try out for a part in the soap opera on TV. Mm-hmm. And so I played the female part, he played the male part, and when he left, the casting assistant director said, well, Lisa, you're really good, but if you're really serious about this, all you'll have to do is, the first thing you'll have to do is lose some weight. And since I had low self-esteem, that added to, I let that add to the lie that I'm not good enough. Mm-hmm. I'm not good enough just as I am. They need me to lose weight to consider me seriously for an acting part. But another person who had confidence, who wasn't believing lies about themselves, would have said, okay, how much weight do you need me to lose? When do you need me to lose it by? I'm there, you know. Mm-hmm. So it's a really deep subject.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That makes sense. What are your hopes for like the future of the book? Like, what do you hope?
I hope that people will read it, and I hope that they learn something that they didn't learn before. I hope they read something that they never considered before. I just hope that it helps them see a little bit more clearly about what's going on in the world. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, for sure. That was all the questions I had.
Oh,
and you gave some good answers.
Oh, good.
So I think it'll turn out good. Do you mind if I take a picture of you with the book somewhere in here?
Oh, sure, that's fine.
Okay, cool.